Most of us in today's world are disabled in one way or another. It just somehow takes someone else for us to realize that. Research points out that those of us who think are complete, since we don't have an issue here and there, are actually also disabled, most of the time in our minds. Hello everyone, and welcome to Naomi's all-inclusive world, where we get to talk about matters disability, what this is, how wrong it's handled and how right it should be, and just matters that revolve around disability. So what exactly is a disability? According to the Department of Transport, US, a disability is a physical or mental impairment, which could be on a permanent or temporary basis, that impairs you from doing your daily life activities or makes you have to use an aid or an assistive device in running your daily life activities, like hearing, like moving around, maneuvering around, and also like breathing and such like things. People living with disabilities, just like the rest of the world, work and earn income. That means they have to access offices, they go on holiday, they go to school, or they access education. They fall sick and therefore they have to access medical facilities. And some of them actually commit crime, which makes them end up in prisons. This means with proper infrastructure in place, people living with disabilities will get the same platform to give to society and be productive to society, just like those who don't have one. Now, these many disabilities that we have read about or have come across in the world fall under this number of categories. One, of the physical disability, sensory disability, mental and emotional disability, intellectual and learning, and developmental and neurodevelopmental disability. Most of us in society today have grown up with so many myths revolving around the world of those living with disabilities. But then until we have an opportunity to have them dissolved and replaced with facts, we will just keep going on with these myths. So here are some of the myths that need to be dissolved when it comes to people living with disabilities. Number one, that all disabilities are physical and therefore visible. That's a myth that needs to be dissolved, because a good percentage of disabilities are actually not visible. Until I tell you my story, you will not know that I have one. Another myth that people need to be aware of and avoid is all disabilities are acquired at birth. Some disabilities will be acquired on the way, like I mentioned in my early introduction, like through accidents, through wrong doctors, natural calamities. So again, not all disabilities are acquired at birth. Another myth that I need to mention is disabilities are contagious. No, they are not. Disabilities are not contagious. And therefore, me sitting in the same boardroom with a person who has a disability, me sharing a lift or an elevator with someone who has a disability, or even me being on a flight or in a vehicle with one, does not mean I'll end up getting it. The next myth that I would like to talk about is all disabilities are permanent. Just because I am using an assistive device today, I am using an aid today, doesn't mean I will live with that disability to the very end. Some disabilities get healed or they get to a term where now they are gone, and therefore not all disabilities are permanent. Another myth that I would like us to look at is a person living with a disability is actually responsible for that disability happening to them. Until you know my story, don't think you do. Some people are living with the disability they have because of someone else's doing. Like I said earlier on, because of some disaster, natural calamity that the parents, for example, didn't have anything to do with it. It could be because of a disease that was not handled well, or it could just be because of the daily accidents that happen. So just because I have a certain disability I live with, it doesn't mean I am to blame for it. And the last myth I would like us to look at today is persons living with disabilities don't need our pity. They just need our good attitude. They need us to understand their world and what's going on, hence this channel, to just help us understand this. And number two, they just need proper infrastructure put in place so that they can maneuver around on their own, so that they can use the assistive devices they have easily, feel like they fit in society and not like stand out because of how they are looked at. So once again, persons with disabilities don't need our pity, they need our understanding. So stay tuned for my next video where I will talk about the facts that surround the world of those living with disabilities and what we need to know about their world so that we can handle them properly and according to the right information. So if you haven't subscribed yet to my videos, please do so for more information, and also let me know what you think and if you've learned a thing or two about this. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.